Have you ever wondered how to teach pronunciation?
Well, here is a brief journey according to Jeremy Harmer on what teachers should bear in mind. We're going to start with the main features of pronunciation. First, phonemes that are the different sounds within a language, as for example, rat, are divided into consonants and vowels. At the same time, consonants are divided into voiced and unvoiced sounds. We refer to voice when the vocal cords in the larynx vibrate. Here is how your vocal cords look when you are producing a voice sound. We refer to unvoiced when there is no vibration of the vocal cords. Here is how your vocal cords look when you are producing an unvoiced sound. If you place your hand on your neck, you will feel the vibration of your vocal cords. Try producing the sound of the letter V repeatedly. V. Now try producing the sound of the letter F repeatedly. F. This way, you will be able to notice the vibration of your vocal cords to distinguish the difference of unvoiced and voiced sounds. On the other hand, vowels are the sounds produced when a voiced airstream is shaped. If you try producing a vowel sound, you will notice how your tongue changes positions without obstructing the air. You will also notice how the shape of your lip changes as well as your lower jaw moves. Vowels are divided into single vowels that can be short or long and into diphthong. You will also notice how the shape of your lip changes as well as your lower jaw moves. Vowels are divided into single vowels that can be short or long and into diphthongs.
Try saying the following word to yourself. One of the syllables in the word sounds louder than the others. In other words, it is stress. Stress gives rhythm to speech and helps us both deliver and understand meaning in longer utterances, and it is closely linked with intonation. Intonation is an aspect of language that we are very sensitive to, but mostly on an unconscious level. We refer to intonation to the way in which the pitch of the voice goes up and down in the course of an utterance. The term utterance is used rather than sentence as it refers to anything we say, even if it is grammatically incomplete. Let's take a look at some examples. I would like a cup of herbal tea. I would like a cup of herbal tea. I would like a cup of herbal tea. Each sentence conveys a different meaning. The first one is just a simple request, while the second one we are emphasizing that we want herbal tea, not any other sort of tea. The last one, on the other hand, we are saying that we want a cup, not a mug. There are other aspects of connected speech such as assimilation, elision, linking, and juncture. Assimilation describes how sounds modify each other when they meet, usually across word boundaries, but within words too. For example, the book. Elision describes the elimination of a sound, as in the utterance, he leaves next week. Speakers usually elide the T sound. Linking. When two vowel sounds meet, speakers often link them in various ways. For example, her English. Lo anota. I agree. Go on. When phonemes are the same, juncture are the subtle difference that helps to differentiate the variations between. For instance, ice cream for ice cream.
On the physiology, we have the upper lip, nasal cavity, upper teeth, alveolar ridge, soft palate, hard palate, uvula, pharynx, tongue, glottis, larynx, lower teeth, and lower lip. We're now going to discuss the articulation of phonemes. In the articulation of vowels, there are two aspects to take into account. The first one is the distance between the tongue and the roof of the mouth. This is divided into closed, mid, and open. The other aspect is how far forward or back the tongue is when producing a vowel. These are divided into front, center, and back. An example that illustrates the articulation of the vowels can be perceived in dog. The vowel in dog is an open back vowel. This is produced when the back of the tongue is in the highest part, but the tongue itself is low in the mouth.
Try holding a small slip of paper in front of your mouth and make the "and" sounds. Can you notice that at the moment you produce the sound, the paper flaps? That is because the relative force involved in producing the consonant is greater and it is referred to as force. On the contrary, the slip of paper hardly moves as the relative force involved is weaker, being known as Linus. In addition to presence or absence of voicing, consonants can be described in terms of manner and place of articulation. Talking about manner of articulation, consonants can be divided into plosive, affricate, fricative, nasal, lateral, and approximate. On the other hand, referring to place of articulation, they can be classified into bilabial, labiodental, dental, alveolar, palato-alveolar, palatal, velar, and glottal.
Phonemic transcription. There are 5 vowels and 21 consonant letters when writing English, and there are 20 vowel sounds, 12 that are diphthongs, and 24 consonant sounds when speaking. Learners might present some difficulties when learning pronunciation. The first one is the relation one-to-one between sound and spelling of the first language. The second one is to become familiar with the sound-spelling relationship even if it is a new concept. The third one are the sounds of the first language that don't occur in English.
Let's take a look at some conventions used in books. Words and utterances are enclosed within slant lines. This mark shows primary stress on the next syllable. This mark shows secondary stress on the next syllable. Absence of a mark shows an unstressed following syllable. Finally, sounds do not always toll with words. This is a representation of one way in which "do you" may be pronounced. Phonetics and phonology. Phonetics refers to the study of speech sounds and phonology to interpret and systematize sounds. It looks at vowels, consonants, and suprasegmental features of the language. We can refer to many different sorts of phonetics such as physiological, articulatory, acoustic, auditory, and perceptual. Now you may be wondering why teach pronunciation. Since it inhibits successful communication, teachers don't need to correct everything but recognize difficulty.
Usually, pronunciation is only taught through error correction, and as this is necessary in the classroom too, pronunciation can be planned for, not making grammar only the primary reference. Some problems might arise when teaching pronunciation, mostly because there is a doubt on how to teach it. Most teachers are more focused on teaching vocabulary and grammar and leave aside pronunciation. But learners believe that this will help them to communicate better. There are 3 types of pronunciation lessons. The first one, integrated lessons, which include pronunciations in the planning process. The second one, remedial, which deal with a specific difficulty in the class in that same time. And the practice lessons, where features of pronunciations are isolated and practiced alone. To raise awareness on the phonological aspects, there are certain matters to consider. First, using a phonemic chart. This helps to encourage students to have the information they need when working independently. One good example can be using the virtual phonemic chart. A second aspect is drilling, repetition, and associating sounds with ideas. Associating sounds with particular ideas makes sounds easier to remember. Also, drilling makes sounds fit into students' language use naturally. An example can be that in order to help students become familiar with the sounds, you can use ideas like calling the sound the holding a baby sound. Ask students to place their arms as in holding a baby and say, ah. A third aspect is referring to sounds friendly. It is important to call the sounds not by the technical name like fricative or by label, but to make reference to something easier by explaining how to articulate the sounds so students assimilate it better. For example, you can use commands like put your lips together for or sound, or make the sound of a snake for and the sound of a bee for.
Now, what about you? According to your experience learning pronunciation, what type of lesson were you taught with? What type of activities did your teachers use? Bring an example just as the one referring to the cup of tea, where different